You're listening to the Lone Star Gridiron Sports Network.
The Wimberley Texans weekly press conference is brought to you by Wimberley Ace Hardware. Be sure to get all your Texans gear at Ace, as 25% of everything they make is donated back to the Wimberley Texans Athletic Booster Association. And while you're there, thank them for all their support.
All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Doug Warren to the show. Coach, congratulations. Another exciting game against Brock, and you come away with a win.
Yeah, it was, man, it's about what I thought it was going to be, just a very physical, hard-fought game between two pretty good football teams, and you know, something that I thought we needed to see kind of where we were against a really, really good team, and you know, be faced with some adversity for the first time, and you know, hit all those things. So I was really pleased with us coming out with a hard-fought victory.
Oh, definitely. Well, you know, and I talk with coaches a lot, and to a man, they all say that before the playoffs, you've got to find a test. You've got to be tested, whether it's a defeat or whether it's a comeback and win, kind of like this. Talk about the importance of having this kind of test.
Well, it's so very important because you, like I said, as you start getting into your district play a little bit later on, and then, you know, as you move forward in the playoffs, and those teams become better each week, and you have to know, you know, how your kids are going to respond. So throughout the season, you have to, you know, you hope that you are faced with some of those tough situations, and who's going to respond, and how this team going to react this way and that. And so, you know, we go into halftime the other night. We're up a couple scores, and man, they roared right back in the third quarter and tied it up. And so it was really good to see our kids respond to that, a little bit of adversity, and you know, react the way that they did. They never panicked, never got down or anything like that. They just kept playing the next play, and eventually we were able to you know, win the football game.
Excellent. And also talk about it from the coach's standpoint, because, you know, you take the lead late in the third quarter. That drive had 2 fourth-down conversions, so not all of that is on the kids. There's some play calling and some decision-making that went on you guys. Yeah,
you know, and number one, you got to have faith in those kids to make plays. That's the first thing, and then put them in spots to be successful. You know, there's an old coach saying, too, you talked about a coach saying, there's another one says it's, you know, players, not plays. And you know, when you get in those tight situations, man, you got to put the ball in the hands of those dudes that make plays and give them an opportunity. And you know, the other night we were successful in making some big ones down the stretch.
Nice. And talk about some of the kids that made plays in this game.
Well, offensively, you look at Noah Birdsong, who he made 2 really big fourth down catches on that one drive. Huge catches that were tough, you know, to keep that going. He had a great game. Nolan Wida, another wide receiver that had an outstanding game. Those 2 guys put a lot of pressure on you just because they're big-bodied receivers that can really run well and present you so many problems. Of course, Cody played really well all night long, and then I thought our offensive line did a really good job against, you know, those guys, and they started loading the box in the second half and making us throw it to beat them, and that's when, you know, our receivers then answered that bell. On the defensive side, you know, Zach Potek, I felt really played a good game from his secondary position, and Ty Thames as well for his linebackers. So we had some guys that really stepped up and played well, and some crucial moments for us.
Yeah, you mentioned Birdsong and Wida. Birdsong's kind of a known entity. We expect great stuff from him, but it seems like Wida is getting better every single time I see him.
He really is. You know, he played for us last year sparingly as a sophomore in some situations, and you know, but he is just now coming into his own. You know, he has such an amazing amount of talent. I mean, he's what you'd want in your wide receiver. He's about 6'3" or 4". He's about 190. He can really run. He can go high point the ball. He wins those one-on-one and those 50-50 balls. He wins those more often than not. And so, and a lot of that is just confidence for that young man. Now he's starting to relax, not think a whole lot about, the play that's called or what his assignment is, but just go out there and execute at a high level. And he takes a lot of pride in his job too. And he's worked really hard at his route running and catching the ball and those types of things. And so it's fun to watch him grow from the year, from last year to this year. And the good thing about it is that he's just a junior. So, he's just going to continue to get better.
Excellent. And I was at another game, and I won't name names because what I'm saying is a little negative. And a couple times on the PAT, the kids that were rushing in, if they'd have laid out, could have blocked it, but just kind of went through the motions. And as you know from this game, that block PAT was everything.
Oh, it was huge. It was huge, and that's why. We preach to our kids, just play every play. It doesn't matter if it's point after a touchdown. That doesn't matter. Every play can make a difference in the outcome of the ball game. They had just scored, had all the momentum in the world, fixing to kick the PAT to tie it up, and we block it. And now, man, that momentum just automatically swings from their sideline to ours, and now our sideline is back excited and fired up, and just 30 seconds before that, the heads were kind of dropping a little because they had tied that ball game up. So it's very important, just as the little things, and that's what'll make the difference between being a championship team and just being a really, really good team.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And how about health-wise? How did everybody come away from that game?
Yeah, we're very healthy. To be honest with you, we had a couple of kids that have been out for a while as some injuries that happened earlier in the preseason, and working to get those back. But as far as anybody out of that game, just your typical bumps and bruises, and everybody else is good.
Excellent. And this week we have Fredericksburg. They're 0-3, but they've been in some of their games. What do you expect there?
It's just a typical hill country rivalry. I mean, they're going to get after us, and we're going to get after them. It doesn't matter. You go back and look through the years at the scores. It doesn't matter if you have a good or bad team. When we get together with these guys, it's usually a pretty tight ball game. And so I know they're off to a rough start, but they've been in those games and had opportunities to win those games. They were up on Tybee the other night, 12-0 for the longest time, and so we're going to have to be ready. And for us, on the road again, going over there to a hostile place, and they're hungry for a win. And so I know they're going to come after us with everything they've got.
Right on. And then what do you expect from them offensively and defensively?
Well, offensively, they're a little bit different than what they've been in the past. I mean, they're still in the gun, but they throw it a little bit more. They're going to run some inside zone and some gap schemes up front as well. Their quarterback, he can hurt you with his feet if you let him get outside of you. And so defensively, they're going to be in their even front like they have been in years past. And the years past, man, we have struggled moving the ball against these guys. And so that's something that we're really going to focus on in the run game this week, and seeing if we can establish some run game against their defensive front, which we have struggled with in the past.
Excellent. Well, again, congratulations on the big win. Best of luck this week against Fredericksburg.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.